and within a month of working there, I had met a guy in the club who had introduced me to cocaine, who introduced me to speed, and I think MDMA, and had just, my whole life had just done a complete 180. And I literally felt, I remember at that point walking down the road some days, and I just felt like a shell of a human walking. Like it was, everything inside me was just gone, dead. Or I ended up with all these toxic relationships and friendships where they were just using me, really. And I was using them to some extent. But I had sort of shut out all the spiritual stuff until one night. It was the first night I had ever tried acid. And we went to a nightclub, and like our friend was like, oh, you know, I have acid tabs. Do you want one? I was like, okay, and put it under my tongue. My tongue started getting like really tingly. I remember looking up, we're in the beer garden, and looking up at all the lights and everything and dancing around and be like, oh my gosh, that's so great. And then my friend grabs me, and I looked at her, and it was like her face was like distorted and she had obviously gone into a bad trip. She had to leave. I was like, oh, okay. And then she left out the side with our other friend who was on acid. And I was walking through the nightclub, and I remember coming across a girl that I had worked with, and I was like, oh, that's great. And she's like tall and slim, and she's beautiful. And we're dancing around, and I remember looking up at her. At one point I'm dancing, and I look at her, and she's laughing and like smiling at me. But her face, like she looked like she was all like twisted up, and her face was like this gremlin, like laughing at me. And I freaked out because I'm in the middle of this dance floor with all these people around, and I'm looking at her, and then the people that she's with turn and look at me, and they're like, everyone, I realize I'm looking around at everyone around me, and I'm like gremlins, literally like gremlins all around me. And I started like freaking out, and I was like, I need to get out of here. I can't do this. I finally got out to my friend outside, but that was one thing that I'm like, that must have been a spiritual door that was opened at that moment, because to be able to look at someone and see these demons and these things looking back at you, I'm like, that can't just be drugs.
This is very important. What is behind sin? What is the force controlling sin, destroying people's lives through alcohol misuse, drug misuse, sexual immorality? The Bible tells us the devil is on earth, and I think the Bible also says he knows his time is little or short, and it also says he has come to steal, kill, and destroy. The wicked and evil forces that are trying to lead you into the wrong friends and to do the wrong things to destroy your life, to kill you, is something you must realize and take to heart. Flee from these sins. It is not just the alcohol or the sexual acts. There is something incredibly wicked trying to get you down this path more and more.
And yeah, other times I took drugs, it was these weird moments would happen. Like we took some MDMA once, me and a friend, and I remember lying there, and it was after the buzz had sort of kicked off the next day that I turned to him and I was like, were there other people in the room? And he's like, yeah, I felt like there were 2 other people in the room with us. And I was like, yeah, like I literally, at one point I remember seeing them. Like there were 2 other people in the room with us, but it was just him and I in the room. So I'm like, I knew all the spiritual things were playing out in front of me, but I guess I was just used to just blocking them all out.